Howdy y'all, this is Stone Hook in Orange, Texas. This is what I started this YouTube channel for, really. It's stone hook and primitive fishing. But to be able to fish with a stone hook, you gotta have a string. I'm gonna focus tonight on how I go about making these little braided sinew strings for the backstrap for white-tailed deer. Here's a little bit bigger hook. It's on a little bit bigger braided string. And this one here is even a little bit bigger hook than that. And it's on a piece of white-tailed deer rawhide strip. That's the easiest string to make right there. And it's just about as strong as anything too, unless you really made a thick sinew string would be stronger than this. But this is really strong string. I don't know what the breaking strength of it is actually, but you can get a mile of it out of a dang deer hide. I just go through the bundles, open them up, and pick out the pieces that's all good, consistent sizes like this right here. And then look at each end of it, make sure it kind of tapers off on each end. Some ends have kind of got a thick, meaty end like that one right there. Then I just take a flake. This one here got cortex on both sides of it, so it's not very sharp and it won't really cut the sinew at all, but just kind of scrape any of that excess. I forget what you call that stuff on this sinew, but just kind of scrape it down, make sure it tapers out kind of smooth. There's a little knot right on the end. If I go through and do all the pieces like that, this piece won't split again right there. Anyway, I go through and get all the pieces cleaned up on each end, make sure each end is kind of tapered good, smooth. Then I'll soak them in water. And here, move this back. Here's the bundle been soaking in water. And these all been kind of graded down to the same size pieces roughly. And tied together right there. Well, now what I do is glue all these pieces end to end together and make long single strands out of them. This is the setup for gluing all the little pieces of sinew strip together. I just use Knox gelatin for hide glue. Comes in little packs like that. You gotta heat it up and mix it with water to make it any good hide glue. So my little heating setup over here, just an old coffee pot with a cat food can sitting on the burner. It's about half full of water. Then I got a smaller cat food can sitting inside there, about half full of water, and a whole pack of gelatin in there. So that makes them really, really sticky glue. But I divided them strips into long pieces and medium pieces, and I had a few short pieces too, but I set them aside. But I pick out one short one, one medium one, and one long one to start with, and I tie a knot in the end of it there, so I identify that end as the starting end. That little bundle over there a while ago, I done took the short one and I added 6 long pieces to it, so I don't really need that short one there. I'll start out with this medium one. In my long pile, all these sinews got one kind of thick end on one end. Then they taper off to, well, them taper off almost to nothing on the other end. I'll try to keep the thick end, splice them thick to thin end like that, and keep all the thick ends on one side as you go. But just dip the end of that Sinew in there about an inch, inch and a half maybe. Set it alongside this piece. Yeah, I like to twist it, but sometimes that hide glue makes it hard to twist. It's just too slick. But try to get them pieces glued together with good, smooth transition. And you dip your finger in there and get some more. Right for them little tail there. But it's good not to try to overwork it, because like it just gets too sticky and comes apart like that right there. And just let it lay there and kind of cool. Keep a wet rag too to keep your fingers from getting too sticky. This stuff's worse than super glue. This is the end of that piece I just glued on there, so here's another one. This piece kind of tapers off pretty small on both ends. That little coffee pot set up there runs about, right now it's running 141 degrees in my hide glue. That's about as hot as I like to get with it. Any higher than that, it'll melt your sinew and just destroy your sinew from the heat. I'm gonna turn it off. I don't know, it clicked off and went down to 140. Anyway, all you can do is just try to get everything to, it's so sticky, it's worse than super glue, I tell you. You can just twist it loose. It don't matter if there's some little strands hanging out a little bit. Come back and catch them after it dries a little bit, where you can work it without sticking to it so much. That end right there, though, it needs to stick better. That end just ain't won't stick. I can't twist it because it's too slick. I'm stuck to a little fuzz off that other piece. That's some little pieces running back this way. I'll glue them down in a minute after that splice dries. Yeah, there's the end of my piece. I'll get another long one. Tell you what's happened, all the water evaporated out of my darn hide glue. That's why it's so sticky. It's too sticky. I'm gonna dip some more water in this hide glue. I have to let that warm back up a little bit now. It's just gotten too sticky. Look, I'm stuck to the can. Stir it up a little bit. Yeah, man, that's worse than super glue. Get a little peach. Yeah. Yeah, glue's working way better now since it kind of thinned down a little bit. I think that was 6 pieces though. That's all I need on that strand. I'm gonna just let it cool for a second and just pick it up and set it to the side. Then we'll start on this long piece here. That's 6 pieces on that one. So now I got 3 strands with thick pieces. That's about, you know, that's a 1.5 long. So that's should be at least 9 feet per strand. I'm gonna just let them kind of dry out now a little bit. Then I'll go through and make sure them ends of them splices are glued down real good. And I'm gonna save these for later, cause 9 feet's a pretty long piece of string. And I'll be back. Okay, I've let this Sinew strips dry overnight. I've heated my hide glue back up. So I'm just gonna go through and start with the knot end and just run down this way. Look for any kind of loose fibers where I splice these together, or otherwise. Some of these little thick ends like that one there, I'm gonna just dab my finger and put a little bit more glue on them. And just go on down and check the whole piece of Sinew for any fibers loose, like that little wee fiber in the end of this piece right here. It kind of got a curve right in the end of that Sinew there, so I'm gonna cut that little curve off. Well, that's it. All the little splices and any little fuzzies left off to the side are kind of glued down, so I'll let that dry and cool off real good for a while. Okay, now I got my 3 strands of Sinew here, and they've dried out overnight, so all the glue is really, the little glue splices is dried well and stiff. And we'll just pull that, separate into each piece. Well, I'm just making a mess. Now I got these little spools. This is a new deal I made. Some little bobbins. This is a little spool. I'm gonna start at the little end though, so I keep my knot down there. And just wind it up on the bobbin spool. Got on the spool. These are my little bobbins I made out of a piece of cane. This right here, these little spools are made out of cane too, actually. Cane is like the Lego blocks of the natural world around here, because like there's a couple pieces. Man, it's made, don't fit there, but fits in there. It just fits together real good. If it don't fit tight, you can move down the stalk a little ways and get a good fits without doing anything to them hardly. And it's tough. I just wrapped it with Sinew right there to keep it from splitting any farther. I split it up there and put some little notches in there that they'll spread out and catch on the spool. And then it turns right there in them little grooves. Made me a little bobbin threader out of a piece of Sinew, kind of reverse twisted it with a loop on one end and then coat it with hide glue just to make it a little stiffer. I'm gonna use that to pull the Sinew through the bobbin. Yeah. That's a loaded, got one loaded bobbin. That makes it really nice just to be able to pull down and feed out some, ever how much string you want to as you go. I used to use rocks. I'd wrap it around a rock, half hitch it or something, and it's a lot of finagling to try to keep everything in line. And also, rocks, sometimes they'll wrap around each other. When you're trying to braid, they wrap around each other and you constantly got to untangle them. I think these bobbins ought to kind of work around each other enough they don't get tangled. I probably should have separated these and wetted them one at a time, because they're a mess. if that piece come unglued, it did, because there's a knot in the end of that one right there. Now I got 3 bobbins loaded up. I'm gonna take these 3 ends and tie a knot in them. I'm gonna let out a little bit of slack. Now I got me a piece of rawhide hanging down. Got a piece of cane sitting on the floor out in front of me, and it's leaning against the wall behind me. I got a piece of rawhide hanging down off of it. We'll just try to tighten that up enough to hold it. Now, you can see them 3 bobbins. Now I'm gonna just take and do a 3-strand braid, like over, over, over. You see how them bobbins are just rolling around each other. That works really well. I've used rocks and different things in the past, but anything that's short, if they're not the same length, they'll get wrapped around the string and you spend a lot of time untangling them. So this works really good. I like the way it's working. But you just keep braiding, braiding, braiding. Let out some string as you need to. I like to put just a little bit of pull into the braid, I don't know, so it's a little bit tight. I mean, when I say pull, I mean pulling out to the side. As I grab them and pull, I'll pull out a little tension out to the side right there. I'm really liking these bobbins though. I tell you, I've just fought different things, rocks, sticks, clothespins, you name it. Anyway, let me see. Going about, I don't know, 9 inches. And never how many minutes that was. So I got 9 feet to go. So it'll take about 12 times that long. And once I braid it down a ways there, I loosen up that knot. I just pull it up through that knot and then kind of half hitch it around that rawhide right there. And then just continue braiding. Let's see, right there. Then as I get worked down the ways, I just pull that knot, pull it up, and throw another little half hitch with a loop right there. And just take the braiding again. Slick. I didn't realize that cane done slipped over in front of the camera. I can't see where I'm at. There it is, right there. cane just keeps sliding over. I am still braiding. Let's see. Just moved up and got another bite on the main string. I don't know how many feet it got there, but it's like I'm about halfway, I think. Well, I'm still braiding. Going a long way. I got a good bit of string up there tied up above me. And I'm getting low on the bobbins here. Kinda. I'm guessing I might have about another 2 feet. That's just a guess. I really don't know. I'm like in the zombie mode now, just braiding sinew. It really ain't been that long though. I don't know how long I've been doing this, but it's not that bad. Can't wait to get done though. I have a piece of good fishing string. I'm still braiding. It's a long process. I'm just about down to the last sinew strips on these bobbins. So you know what the monkey said when he got his tail cut off? Won't be long now. Well, I'm done braiding. I wound up with 8 foot and 4 inches of some Sinew fishing string here. And there's the end of the braid right there. Okay, I got this. I let this dry out real good for been a couple weeks actually. A nice sharp flake here. It's a good flake. Got a good flat spot right there to put your finger on and just cutting machine. I'm gonna go down the length of this thing and just cut any of the fuzz off, little hair sticking out. It don't have to be real thorough just to get most of the big ones off, I guess. I like how on plant fibers you could just run this through a little fire and it'll burn off all them little ends. And it will kind of burn back this Sinew, but I just don't think fire is good for Sinew. Okay, I got me a little hook. This is made out of a piece of gravel. Pretty strong profile hook, really. I bet it pulled over 10 pounds pulling like that right there against the tip, against whatever's tied to it. Anyway, I soaked the end of the string in water, softened it all up. You just separate these little tails that's hanging out there. Normally I don't have this big of tails left like this, but there's a lot to work with. But I'm gonna just run that, set that string right along the inside of that hook bend. And I got a little half hitch around the end of it right there, so put that about halfway down the hook shank. And just take one of these. I'm gonna take a smaller one first. Wrap it this way. Kind of get it started and get that sinew positioned right along the inside of that hook. Then ain't want to stay right in the inside of the hook hardly. Then I'm going to go ahead and wrap this back. This first little piece right here just more or less kind of gets everything in position, so that I can come back with them next ones and really wrap it tight. It really don't take a whole lot of wrapping along that hook shank to hold the string to it. I'm going to just start back down toward this other end a little bit more. Of an angle. And when I get there, I'm going to take one of these neck ones right here. Go ahead and take this one right here. And then I'm going to start wrapping it really tight. Now I'll take this last one here, wrap it back down toward that end again. But this is overkill. No way you need 3 wraps on here. 2 would be plenty. Probably should have used this one here for the second wrap, and then that would have been good enough. But when I get to right here, just gonna half hitch it around that string. Well, this thing is pulled the wrong way. I want to pull that good tight right down right there. I got too close to the end though, it's gonna come off the end like that. See, so I'm gonna try to pull that back out of there. Now, I'm going to take a few half hitches back down the hook. First, I'm going to get these out of the way. That thing's bugging me. Kind of got to be a little creative with it and just roll a loop. fingers just kind of fumble fingered tonight. Yeah, I like to pull this tight as I can get it. And maybe take another half hitch. One more probably won't hurt nothing. And that's it. That's kind of a bulky wrapping job, but just kind of pulling to the inside of that hook. I think that helps just kind of engage the hook into whatever it hooks onto, you know. I don't think, boy, I got it real close to the end of that hook. I don't think it's going nowhere though. Well, it really is kind of maybe. I'm gonna come back here and loop around that string a couple times. A lot of times what I do is wrap up the hook and wrap down the string a little ways. That's probably what I should have done, because it beefs up this point of contact between the string and the hook. And you can still take another piece of Sinew and just wrap that all right there real good. I might do that a little bit because this ain't my best tying job. It ain't going nowhere. So I'm gonna call it good. I'll take one more half hitch. That's good enough. I don't mind if it got a little fuzz on it. That's like fish food right there. You don't even need no bait.